So before you pick up a whole handful of blueberry, put it in your mouth and go num 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 num. You know, remember that handful of blueberries. Hello everybody, apologize for not posting any video last week because I've been so busy helping out in the blueberry farm. I've been pretty much spending 8 hours every day picking blueberries because this year with the heat, everything has been pushed to ripe a lot quicker, so there's kind of a little panic to pick all the blueberries or as much blueberries as we can. But I thought it might be a good idea to show you how we pick blueberries. So first of all, at the start of every day when we first arrive, we will have to pick up one of these belts. I don't know if you can see. This belt sits on your waist and it's got this 2-hook on it. And the 2-hook is for putting a basket. And basically it sits on your waistline like this. And basically you pick and you put it in here. And then on the belt there is a little basket here too. This one is for rejections. So anything that's rejected, any blueberry that's probably still pretty good but a little bit damaged, we put it in here because nothing gets wasted. The rejected blueberry are still edible and they're still usable, and they are pretty good for making jams too, so nothing gets to waste. So I have basically just finished the morning hour. We spend 4 hours in the morning usually, and then 4 hours in the evening. At the moment, we start at 7:30 in the morning, and except for today, because today was very foggy and we don't want the blueberry to be wet, so we kind of delayed it an hour. But it's been getting so hot, that's why we started at 7:30. And we will start from 7:30 to 11:30. Sometimes we finish at 12:30 if it's not too hot. But yeah, so in the morning we start at 7:30 and I normally get up at 6 o'clock because I want to be, I want to give myself like an hour and a half to get ready, to have my breakfast and to do my business, if you know what I mean. Because when you pick blueberries, you kind of move a lot up and down, and that will get your bow moving. So the last thing you want is in the middle of the field wanting to go for number 2. Anyway, so I want to show you what I mean earlier when I said the blueberries are ripening fast. So currently I am in the field for cargo. These blueberries are not meant to be ripened until July. Like last year, like nothing, it's ripened in July. But we are now at the middle of June. So I want to show you like some of these. Look at these, are already turning blue. I mean, we've been picking baskets and baskets of cargo blueberry this morning, and there are tons of them are ready to pick. The problem is this blueberry is supposed to be, well, it's not supposed to be ready until July. So now what's happening is we have Duke. That was the first blueberry to ripen. That's almost finished. And then we have Legacy that's already pretty much ripened. And then we have Cargo here, it's also ripening. So we have all 3 types ripening almost at the same time, which means we need to pick them as quickly as possible, because once the blueberries ripen, basically we are going against time. As you get hotter, all the blueberries get riper, and then we are racing against the heat, and then there's bugs that lay eggs into the blueberries, and also the birds. So we are kind of in a rush to do everything as quickly as possible. But let me go to the Duke farm and to show you what it looks like now, because Duke has a Like I said, if you watch my previous videos about blueberries, Duke produced the biggest blueberries, and I want to show you what they look like. So as I'm walking to the legacy field, which takes a couple of minutes, I want to explain to you how do we choose to pick which blueberry per day or each day. So in the morning, when we pick up our belt and a basket, and before we start picking, we are usually told what blueberry to pick. There are predominantly two types of clients. One that is for overseas, mainly for export to country like North European country like Sweden, Denmark, or Norway, somewhere where they can afford to buy blueberries. And then the second kind of client is for local clients. So my friend drives this blueberry to the city and he sell it there. The difference between the two clients is when it's for export, there is a minimum size that we have to pick. I codename it as Big Blue. So any blueberry that has to be big enough, otherwise they get rejected. And then the blueberries for local clients, as in direct sales to customers, I codename it as All Blue. So it could be any size, except for the really, really tiny ones. So those are for direct clients. So there's two types. So before we start picking, we always get told what kind of blueberry we're picking today. So like this morning, we were picking for export. So we were doing Big Blue this morning. Anyway, I have arrived to Duke. Let me quickly show you what they look like. Right, so we have been picking these Duke for the last 2-3 weeks every day, and as you can see, they are all pretty blue already. As you can see, they're all pretty small. These are the ones that have been left behind that we haven't picked yet, because these are kind of for direct client, and you can see how blue they are. And there are still some kind of waiting to turn. There is always a couple of those. Let me find a tree where there is tons of huge blueberries. I mean, just look at this. Let me show you. You see these blueberries? They're huge, and they're not ready to pick yet. For some reason, some of the blueberry trees are harder to pick than the others. So I will show you how we pick blueberries. The simplest way to pick is basically we use a palm, and you use a finger to gently pull it. If it's ripened or it's ready, it will just come off very easily. So this is how I do it, and then you get a handful and then you just dump it in your basket. And then, we have to be careful what we pick, because obviously if this is for the client, or any client basically, there are rejects. So for example, obviously this one hasn't turned blue yet, will become a reject, and then the pink one, they're rejects if you pick them. But sometimes, I don't know if you can find it here now. So like, for example, this one here, where my thumb is, you think it's ready, but if you look, if I just pick this, I'll show you. This is slightly pink, so this is okay. They do ripen after they're picked, so this is just about acceptable. But there are some like where you think it's pink. I mean, you think it's all blue, it's ripened, but it's actually still ripe, still unripe. And those we get rejected. Most of these are ripened already, so it's pretty hard for me to find example to show you. But basically, if you reject it, they will not be acceptable, and it goes either into, I usually just throw it away, or it goes into that, you know, the reject basket I showed you earlier on the belt. With Duke, there's another problem with Duke. When you pick them, let me see if I can show you how. Okay, when we pick them, Duke has got problem with skin tearing. Let me see. This one's okay. You see where the blueberry were attached before? I don't know if you can see it. Is it focusing? I don't know. So Duke has this problem that when you pick it, the skin will tear. Let me see if I can do one on purpose. And then you know what I mean. Right, okay. So I've just picked one from here, and this is what happened when you pick a blueberry with a torn skin. You see this white bit there? That's what happened when the skin is torn, and these blueberry we get rejected. They are not acceptable, but they still taste good. So either you can just eat it now or put it in the rejection box that goes into, I don't know, making blueberry jam. But this is a particular problem with Duke because they're so big. So we have, like I said, we have been picking these for the last 3-4 weeks, like 8 hours a day, and there's still thousands and thousands of blueberry that need to be picked. Okay, so this is a legacy plant. Oh, they are actually pretty ripened. They are also ready to be picked. You think it's pretty easy to pick, but once it became blue, as it get heavier, it goes down and sitting on the floor, just like that on the floor level. And the problem with this is that when you pick these, you have to be on the floor level to pick them. For me, I'm 183, so I'm pretty tall guy. I am normally kneeling on the floor a lot of the time. And so when I do that, basically I'm leaning on the floor to the next plant, I stand up, and then to the next plant, I knee on the floor, and I stand up to the next plant, I knee on the floor. So when you've been doing that for 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the evening, I can tell you that it gets really, really tired. But this morning I was picking smaller blueberry plants. That was very tiring. I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so these, as you can see, they're much younger plant and much smaller plant. Right, let me put you down here and show you what I mean. So when I come to this plant here, I will have to bend down like this, and I will pick the blueberries. And then when I have to stand up, move to the next plant, and I bend down again, and I pick blueberries. And I do that all the way to the end, and sometimes come back from the other side. And basically, just by standing up, kneeling down, that's the physical part of it. I mean, another way is bending down like this to pick the blueberries, but trust me, after like, I don't know, half an hour, you can feel your back. So I don't like to bang my back like this, so I'm usually on my knee. As you can tell, I don't know, for my trousers, this is where I get all the dirt from my trousers from. So just in case you're interested in becoming a blueberry picker, when you come to Portugal, I mean, my friend, it's a pretty relaxed boss. You know, if you go to some other fruit farm, you probably have to pick a minimum number of, I don't know, basket per hour. My friend is pretty relaxed that way. He doesn't really rush you to pick a certain amount of basket, but of course you can't just take your time and pick them. You know, for the first time, he'll be more relaxed about how many basket you should pick. So say if you're first time picking, you'd expect to pick at least one basket an hour. I think a basket can hold about a kilo and a half of blueberries. And then by the second hour, expect you to pick 2 baskets in the hour. And eventually you should pick at least 3 baskets an hour. Obviously, if you don't do that, you will not be called back again, obviously, because you're too slow. And my friend also personally check every single basket that you pick, so you will know whether, usually he would tell you whether you need to pick a bigger blueberries, or your blueberry need to be bluer or riper, or you're picking too slow, too many pink ones, I don't know. He will tell you that, and they expect you to improve in your next basket. And obviously, if you don't, if you not listen to him and you keep picking all the rejects, again, you won't be called back. So as simple as that. But otherwise, you know, there is no pressure of picking how many basket you need to pick. It's more like a self-regulated thing. If you see people around you are delivering basket, then you should kind of know the speed you're doing. Currently, they are loading the fan for tomorrow's selling, and I want to show you what they're doing. Just want to quickly show you they're loading the fan up for tomorrow. This is what all the blueberry we picked this morning or in the last couple of days. So each basket, it's stored in each boxes, and all these boxes are sorted, like all filter out all the bad ones out, and they're all weighted, so we know exactly how much it's in each box. So these are going to be delivered for tomorrow. Delivery only happens once a week. The blueberries that are picked during the week are stored in the farmhouse. So the farmhouse here has a walk-in freezer or walk-in fridge inside. So all the blueberries that are picked are stored in there. I haven't explained to you that, you know, earlier when I tell you how we pick blueberries, as you can see, blueberries don't ripen all at the same time. So to pick blueberries, we have to choose which one to pick. And every single blueberries are selected and picked one by one. Next time when you pick up a box of blueberry, just remember that every single blueberry that is in that box are handpicked one by one by somebody at one point, and it was selected and filtered and it went through this box and delivered to the box that you just bought. And so before you pick up a whole handful of blueberry, put it in your mouth and go nom 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 nom. You know, remember that handful of blueberries probably took someone 5 to 10 minutes to pick those blueberries. So I hope you appreciate how much work that goes to picking blueberries. And in this heat too, and you might think there are nets over the blueberries. I can tell you these nets are not for shading, and they're neither for stopping the birds coming down, because the birds love blueberries, they're going crazy. These nets are for stopping hailstones. So when the trees at the beginning of the year, when all the plants before these blueberry become blueberry, obviously they were a flower, and the flowers are very fragile. And usually at the beginning of the year, we get like a strong wind or we have hailstorm, and the net above me is for protecting the flowers from getting damaged by the hailstorm or by heavy rain. So even with the net above us is not for shading. We are basically standing in the sun. I mean, today it's kind of cool. I think it's about 30, 31, 32 degrees Celsius right now. But for the last couple of weeks, especially during the heat waves, we can get up to 39 degrees Celsius, and it feels like about 40, 41. And we are sitting, or we are still standing in the sun to pick these blueberries. As they get ripened, we want to pick them as fast as possible. So yeah, it is a really tough job in that sense. If you don't like heat, you know, this is not fun for you. I think I've told you kind of everything that I need to tell you about how blueberries are picked. So the fan over there is for exports. So that fan would deliver to a middleman, and then the middleman would deliver the rest of them together with the rest of the farms in the country to wherever it needs to go. And then obviously for another time when we pick blueberry for direct clients, my friend would deliver it to a city. Usually he goes to Creambar and somewhere else to deliver them. So yes, blueberry picking, I can tell you, it's pretty tough. It's pretty physical in a way that you have to keep standing up, kneeling down, stand up. And also it's pretty mental because you have to choose every single blueberry to pick. You need to make sure if they are big enough or not, make sure they are blue enough, make sure they're not damaged. And oh, one thing I have to tell you, let me see if I can find them. Let me show you the damage. Okay, just to quickly show you, these are bird damage. So birds has already been coming down and eating them. But sometimes when the blueberry ripens, you can see again another one damage from the birds. Basically what happened, okay, what I'm trying to say is, when we pick them, for example, like this, right, we would pick them like this, and it is by feel that's damage. So usually damaged blueberries are pretty soft, and also another type of blueberry that is very soft is the one with worms in them. I can't see anything right here. Okay, this one is okay. I can't find anything right now because it's still early stage. When the blueberry starting to ripen, there is a I think like a wasp that will lay eggs into these blueberries, and usually, you know, there is maggots in them by the side of a tiny little hole that you will see it, and that's usually mean there is a maggot in the blueberry. Otherwise, you can tell by pressing it. It's usually pretty soft. So if you ever get a blueberry that you think, oh, it's ripened because it's really soft, no, pretty soft because there was a maggot in your blueberry. So when people say you should wash your blueberry with salt water, I don't know, some people do that, then that's definitely a good thing to do, wash your blueberry beforehand. For me, I eat anything, you know. If the blueberry looks fine to me, it doesn't feel super soft, then I would just eat it. I guess it's just extra protein. I don't really mind. I'm sure my stomach acid is going to kill the worm or the maggot anyway, so that makes no difference to me. So yeah, and for me, I prefer the smaller blueberries. I think these one are pretty good size. The big ones I find it a bit gritty, like Duke. The skin can become very gritty because I know we've been trained by supermarket to think that the bigger is the better, but I think when it comes to blueberry, I think the medium size or the small ones, the flavor is more intense. The bigger ones gritty, but these ones are the perfect size. And they're very, very good. And I'll tell you what, sometimes when we pick for supermarket, we do pick them slightly underripe, which means they don't taste as good even though they ripen in the box. So if you want really, really good blueberries, I highly suggest you, if you can, buy directly from a blueberry farmer. And also, we should always support your local farmer and not supermarket, okay? Because it is tough life. I can tell you this, it's tough. The heat and the work of 8 hours every day, it really, really tiring you. But anyway, for now, I'm gonna go home, have a rest, and I will see you later.